right, so now, here we go. This is where the video is going to start. That it. Now, here we go, week 9. Let's look at week 9. Here's our instructions. Homework's due in 2 days. If you looked at the homework, you would have realized, well, that's no big deal, because this has got to be your, if not your easiest, your second easiest homework of the semester. It's short, and the way I set it up, you can't go wrong. So here's the deal. Here's what makes this homework different than any other. It's the only homework you must turn in by emailing it a spreadsheet to me. You can't do this one by hand. Everybody hear that? This must be emailed, a spreadsheet to me, not through Canvas. I want to make sure everybody hears that. I've already had like 2 assignments get lost. Canvas assignments don't make it to me for whatever reason. Send them directly to me, to my email spreadsheet. Now here's the deal. I'm going to look at it within a couple hours from the time you send it. I'm going to be just, every time I'm getting an email from you, I'm going to be looking at it. And I'm sending it back to you if there's even the smallest mistake. This is, you either get an A or you get a 0. You either get 100 or you get a 0, but you get as many attempts as you want. You can get, and then once it's late, you still get another attempt. You can get a 75. You can get a 65. You get as many attempts as it takes to get a grade.
So you would send it back and we do it again?
I'm sending it back within hours from the time you send it to me if there's an error on it. Allowing you to redo it and still get the 100,
right,
as long as it's not late.
Did you say what the error is or just send it back?
Yeah, I think I do say the error. I can't remember. I think I do. I don't know. It seems like I would. I have to try to imagine creating one right now. I don't know.
That'd be so annoying if you don't tell us.
It seems like I would. I can't. Don't get me wrong. I would love to annoy you, but it just doesn't seem like I would not tell you what to do. Does everybody understand? This is the weirdest one. Here's the deal. Ready? You handed it in Thursday. It's due before 11. You got to email. You're in the hall emailing it because you forgot you got to email it. And there's a mistake on it. I'm gonna, right after class, I'm gonna try to look at it as fast as I can, or right as soon as I get home after the other lecture, I'm gonna look at it as fast as I can and get back with you. But now it's late. And I know the rule is that you must handwrite anything that's late being handed in, but not for this assignment. This is the one and only assignment that must be done on Excel and handed in through Excel. So there's no handwriting this, even if it's late, okay? Everybody understand? This is the one time only though, one time only. No handwriting. All right, so we got that. And this assignment's too short. I gotta admit, it's just way too short. And it's all you got. So you got a nice break, like you need another break. But there you go. I wanna show you the assignment so you can see just how easy and small and short it is. Is this it?
Yeah.
Here it is right here. Let me see how far the data goes.
It's so small.
Is this it?
Yeah, it's it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at the data goes down here though. That's good. You want to make sure and highlight all this data. Here's my big hint. You want to make sure and highlight row 7 with the titles. This is where the #1 mistake is. Somebody will highlight all this data but not include these titles. And then when you go to make your pivot table, none of the titles are there. And it doesn't make sense. And it's not going to look right. I should have opened the answer because I want to show you what it should look like. But now, here's the bad news. Some of you are relying on other students before you hand in your homework. I don't know if you're looking at it to see if you did it right or you're just playing copying your homework. I don't know what. And usually, when quiz 2 scores don't turn out the way you expected, especially compared to quiz 1, is sometimes it happens, students who are willing to admit the true reason why it happens is what I hear is, I should have been doing my own homework taking my homework more seriously than maybe just looking on WhatsApp or whatever and relying on that because I forgot about it too many times or something like that. That could be the case. And watch out, because if you copy and paste someone's homework for this pivot table, I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna be able to tell whether you created it or you just copied it. It's not gonna turn out right. I'm gonna open up the pivot part of it to see if you moved things into the right spot. So please, this is so easy. Just know everybody here can do it. And if you can't do it, just email me. I'll help you through it. Okay? So I don't want you to lose points because you just copied and pasted or something. And after the answer is posted, you can't even copy and paste that. You'll be able to tell. You're just going to have to follow it so you can see what it looks like. Matter of fact, no.
Can we have a glimpse of it?
Nah, I can't.
Please.
I know. I was trying to tip my mind.
Please.
But it's good. It's so easy though. Here's what makes it easy. I tell you step by step, right here where I have my pointer, what to do. What to do. Not only did I tell you step by step what to do, and by the way, there's two tables. There's one, and it says make sure and open it up on another sheet. So you're going to have a sheet 2, and you're going to have a sheet 3 where the second table's at. So let me scroll down here so you can see there's a second table. This table is asking you to display the amount of purchases for each region. So you're going to have, on your pivot table, you're going to have east, west, north, south, and you're going to have the purchase amounts from each region. But then on the other pivot table, let me go to this one. This one's going to have regions, east, west, north, south, but instead of the amounts, it's going to be the average amount from each region. Instead of the full amount, it's going to be average amount. So that's the difference. And this you have to open in another sheet. So sheet 1 is this data and the instructions. Sheet 2 is your first table. Sheet 3 is your second table. Just 2 tables. And right now it sounds like it might be hard and confusing, but wait till you see what I'm about to show you. You ready? Right here, where is it at? No. Wait. Right here. Right here, I posted these, what are called the Excel example pivot table step-by-step instructions. Let me show you the step-by-step. I'm showing you exactly what to do on the example that I'm about to go over. Highlight your data range. Select Insert tab, then Pivot Table. I should add a little words here because you got to take it a step farther. Once you pick Pivot Table, you also want to select use the shaded instead of external data, you want to use the shaded data because you highlighted all the data. Then you want to select New Worksheet on this Pivot Table dialog box. You want to make sure and select New Worksheet. I'm about to show you this. Then you're going to say, this will appear, and then you want to move things. What's the first one? You want to move items, drag items to rows. Then it says, click on revenue and take that to values. And then there's what it looks like when you're done. All right, there you go. I did it fast, but here you go. Where is it? Nope, that's not it. That's not it. This is it. You ready? Is this it, or is this your homework?
That's the homework.
No, it's not. Is it? It's not the homework? Okay, good. All right, ready? I'm not even going to read this. Instead, let's just talk about it. You got items there. It looks like we're selling bolts and hammers, irons. You see anything else? Nails. I see nails. Category, some are in supplies, some in tools. We got other. I see 3 different categories there. Supplies, tools, and other. You guys agree? Revenue. Here's how much we sold on each of those dates. Look at on September 1st, we sold $453 in bolts, and that will be under supplies. On September 9th, we sold $324. And then region on the right. So what do we want to do? Let's say we want to make a pivot table. Let's say I want to know how much we've sold of each item. And what is this, a whole month's worth of sales? Let me look. Yeah, it's all of September. So this is a month in sales. And I want to know how much we sold in bolts, hammers, irons, and nails. Those are the 4 items, right? So I want to make my rows the items. And then I want to know how much we sold, so I'm going to make the revenue the values. So here's what I'm going to do. You ready? I'm highlighting all the way up to where the category titles are, and then all of the data. There it's highlighted. Let go. Now I'm going to the Insert tab. Right there. Left click. Now I'm going to Pivot Table arrow right there. Left click. It opens up this little down. You want to go from table range. You don't want it, we're not using external data. From table range, what I highlighted. So I left click on that. Here's the dialog box. Look at the range that I highlighted. C8 to G28, that looks correct to me. That looks like the area I highlighted. Now, this is the most important part. I'm asking you to make sure the pivot table's in a new worksheet. So that box right there, not existing worksheet, new worksheet. Because I've done it already on here, it comes up already with new worksheet click, but when you do it the first time, it'll probably come up with existing worksheet click, switch it to new worksheet. That's why I'm trying to point this out to you. New worksheet. Then click OK. Now watch. A new worksheet at the bottom, sheet 2. How did it open already? Was there a sheet 2 already? So there's already. So sheet 3 is about to open now because I forgot to get rid of sheet 2. Sheet 3 is about to open. Look what it looks like. looks like that. Wait a minute. What happened? Where's our stuff? How do I open it up?
I think it's like from like design and whatever. Oh no, it's not.
Oh, hang on.
Well,
Wait
you
a
can
minute.
click field list on the
Let me
top.
do it again. Here we go, here. Click, I don't know, whatever. New worksheet, click OK. Why didn't it open up the box? I don't understand. Here we go, do it again. Insert. It's gonna do it the same way I did. Insert. Pivot table. From range. Dialog box. Am I forgetting anything? There it is. There we go. Here's all those headings. Item, category, revenue. It opens up all the headings. I want those headings, I want the items that we sold to be in rows. Now, if I left click here, it's gonna show up in rows, but with the first time you do this, it could show up in columns, it could show up in value. And so what you could do is just drag it to make sure it shows up in the right place. So I'm putting to where I get the double arrow, left click, I'm dragging that down to rows right there. Look what happened. Bolt, hammer, iron, nails, all showed up now, each in a row. Now, I want the values of these rows. What do I want? I want to know how much money we sold, how much revenue we made in bolts, hammers, irons, and nails for the month of September. So I'm going to go to revenue, and I'm going to move it down here to values. Here I go. There it is. That's it. There it is. There's how much I sold. Now look at the total. $8,518 in stuff I sold in the month of September. Now wait a minute. Now instead I changed my mind. I don't want to know how many I sold of each one. I want to know how much of each category. How much were sold out of tools, how much were sold out of supplies, how much were sold out of other. So now I'm going to take item back out. Let me take it back out of there. Whoops, by unclicking it. And I'm going to switch to category and put that under rows, and watch what happens. Still $8,518 worth of stuff sold, but now we have three categories. $3,626 in other, $2,108 in supplies, $2,784 in tools. You see how I switched it up? Let me go back, let me see if there's something, make something else up. Let's say we want to know how much we sold each date. How much we sold each date. So let me go back to that worksheet. I'm going to turn category off. I'm going to turn date on. Now when I click on date, instead of dragging it, it will probably show up in rows because I've already put the last two in rows, so Excel's going to go, oh, this person's clicking on date, it probably means rows. Let's see what happens. Sure enough, it did. Now I can see how much we sold every date of September. And it's in order from the earliest date to the latest date. So does everybody see how once you get the data highlighted, select you want it on a new worksheet, you get this right-hand thing opening up. It's just a matter of taking these different titles and moving them down here and here. Like for example, I could go the other direction. I'm going back now to, what was the first thing? It was items. I'm going to take items this time, put it in columns instead of rows.
But in the instructions, do you tell us where to put each one?
In the instructions on the homework, I'm telling you exactly how I want it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you to make sure and put items in rows, make sure and put something in value and stuff like that. But I got one more trick to show you that's part of your homework you haven't seen yet. But real quick, just want to show you another thing. Here it is, I'm taking it and putting columns. Now watch what happens when I put, I can't remember how to bring that back. Darn.
Press the pivot table. Like press the table, press whatever the head is.
Oh, thank you. Came back. Now I'm going to go ahead. Going to come back and put it values. Now this will probably put it underneath each one. There it is, bolts, 800. Still adds up to 8,518, just like before. But it's putting it in columns now instead of rows. That's the only difference. That's how you make pivot tables. Now the reason this is a big deal, your professor in 302, this is her pet peeve. She has asked us in 301, there's three of us teaching 301, please show them pivot tables. Because you're starting off using pivot tables extreme at the beginning of 302, you guys. So you've got to play with this and do that homework assignment yourself, because you've got to be prepared for 302. Because you're doing, let me show you the kind of pivot table you're going to do in 302. Is this it? Yeah, look at this. There's 4,000 rows of data. Look what I got to do to highlight this. And don't forget, you got to get these headers. There they are. Now watch, I can just hold my left finger down, just stand here and talk, because to get down to 4,000 is gonna take forever. I tried everything to make it go, there's a little faster, all right.
You can right click and put select all, no?
What?
You can't do that?
Stop,
Can you?
that's no fun. Hang on.
That's so fun.
What am I at? I'm already at 1,000. Right, so we just got 3 more times the time that just went by still. No big deal. So those 2 banks collapsed.
Three banks.
2 banks.
Was it two?
What 3?
2 or 3? It was.
We have 4,000?
Wasn't it-
2,000, so we're only halfway there. This is real. This is the kind of data, amount of data you have when you make pivot tables. It's like 4,000 rows of data. Signature and Silicon, I don't remember the name of it, Silicon Valley Bank or Credit Union, whatever.
There was, yeah,
Signature.
Silicon Valley Bank, and what was the second
Signature.
one? Signature Bank. There was one more. That's what I read.
Is there a third one? If there is, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, let me.
Okay, here's 4,000, there it is. There's all the data, nothing different, right? Here we go. Insert, pivot table, use the range of data. New worksheets, clicked here because I've done it on this before. You gotta make sure and click on new worksheet, make sure the range is the right range. It is. Click OK. Maybe if I just, where do I go?
If you just press the field list on the top right.
Top right, right here? Where though? Show?
Yep, field list.
No. Buttons? No. Fields? No.
The field list.
Thank you. There we go. All right. So let's look at the original. Let's decide what we want. Here's what we have. We have voters, party, precinct. How about this? Let's count how many from each party. And I see Democrat, Republican. Do they have like independents or anything on there? I only see Democrat and Republicans. Oh, decline. So they declined to tell what party they were in. So let's do that. So party would be our, let's make those our rows. And then we want to count, how do we count here? Okay, the voter number on the far left, we would count, this voter column would be how we could count. But let me show you on the data. Let me go to the worksheet. So we're going to take party affiliation and drag that to rows. There it is. Decline, Democrat, Green, Republican. There's all the possible answers. Now I'm going to take and put values for voters. But watch what happens. There's not, it's supposed to be 4,000, but it's 100, it's, what is that, 1 million, I gotta count how many digits, 12,350,873. We know there's only 4,000, so this isn't counting. Instead, it's taking all the voter numbers and adding them together. So what we need to do is now this is gonna help you for your second table, that when you go to values, there's a little arrow there, and you can change, instead of it being the sum of the values, you can instead, look at the options here, called value field settings. You can instead use the sum, use the count, use the average, use the max, use the min, all kinds of options here. And your second homework assignment, I think, says use the average, but for us, we want to know how many. And if we did this right, if it's going to count, instead of taking all the numbers, putting them together, it should add up to 4,000. So all the parties together should add up to 4,000 because we highlighted, I think it was around 4,000 cells. So I'm going to click on count, hit OK, let's see if it worked. Look at that, 4,000. So out of the 4,000, 61 said they're independent, 550 said, I declined to tell you my party, 2,157 said Democrat, 41 said Green, 1,191 said Republican, 4,000. Did everybody see how I changed that data to a different type of data? That's the big hint for the second table in your homework. And now you're ready to do your homework. It's that easy. Any questions? How are we doing on time? We got one more major thing to learn. Do we have enough time for it? Who said no? Okay, how's this? I'm going to introduce you to it and take about 3 minutes, but then we'll talk about it again at the beginning on Thursday. All right, so here it is, and I'm telling you, this is so important. This is the most, out of all the things, where is it? Out of all the things, this semester I taught you in Excel, and almost every lecture I taught you a new Excel function. This is the most important one. This is crucial, called if. I don't know how, bring it up how crucial, I'll tell you how crucial it is. you need to, before you graduate, you need to understand how to do simulations. Everybody, business majors, all my business majors, simulation has been around for a long time, and big companies live and die by simulations. This is the key. If you can walk in an interview and say you can do a simulation, that's gonna be a huge, huge, big deal. The bigger the company is especially. The small companies haven't gotten sophisticated enough to do simulations. But simulation is how companies have found that they can make better decisions. And so in this particular simulation that I just happened to be bringing up to you, there is part of it right down here. Let me go, look at how big this simulation is. How many years across does it go? It's simulating what would happen. This company says, hey, we have to invest something like $10 million, $15 million to do this new product, whatever it may be. And we want to figure out, everybody's got in this company, when a company does this, they say, we want to know if we should do this, because if we're putting up $10, $15 million cash to do this, or we're getting this huge loan or a bond, something to get the money to do this. And before we do it, everybody from every department needs to put their heads together and figure out what will be our costs related to doing this. We know the cost of this machine, but what's going to be the cost to run it? What's the labor to run it? What's the cost on every individual product we're going to make? That this is why we're doing this. And this is what companies do. And they say, look, this machine is good anywhere from 7 to 15 years. So we want to simulate, what if this machine we only use it for 7 years? What if we use it for 8? What if we use it for 9? What if we use it for all 15 years? And with simulation, you like talk to manufacturing, and manufacturing will come to me and they'll say, hey, to make this golf bag that we now want to sell, whatever this product may be, it's going to cost us anywhere from this much to this much in the materials, anywhere from this much to this much in labor. We always came to meetings talking about ranges, because we use ranges on the simulation. We know it won't be any less than this. This is the lowest we can get those costs of materials down in labor. But it could be as high as this. You get the full range. And you simulate what happens if materials at the worst possible range, that is cost is at the top of the range, and what happens if labor at the same time is at the top of the range. You make sure and simulate the worst possible scenario where your cost of goods are the worst it could be. But you also simulate the best scenario. What would happen if our cost of materials at the lowest of the range and our labor is at the lowest of the range? And then you simulate everything between. If I were to scroll down on this, usually we always used to do 1,000 simulations. And when you're doing 1,000 simulations, you're simulating every possible scenario. Labor cost is low, material cost is high, overhead is normal, market share increase is low, market share increase is high. Look at all the things that are on here. The selling price, what's the selling price going to be in the 15th year? What's the market growth rate we got in that 15th year? What's our market share in that 15th year? What's our operating cost going to be? What's our fixed cost? And then what's our profit? And here's all the profit. Now this final one after 15 years is how decisions are made. That 15th year tells you, are you going to make money or lose money based on every one of these simulations? And I think, let's see how many there are. There's 500 or 1,000. Look at all the different simulations. Look at all the different numbers. You see the ones that are, I'm colorblind, but is that red? It would be red if it's negative, right? They're in parentheses though. You see some of them in parentheses? So the next step is, in a real simulation, is you go, okay, let's say there's 500 there. You now calculate out of 500 how many are simulating that if you go forward, you're going to lose money. And we used to always say at the table, we used to say, let's pretend this is our own money, that we spent our whole life saving this $15 million. Are we willing to take this much risk based on this simulation? For example, if this simulation out of 100 said 10 of them, out of 100, you're going to lose money, what % chance of us going forward, of us losing money according to the simulation? 10% chance of losing money. That's how you got to look at it. That's what the simulation does. It gives you every possible scenario and says, look, based on all the things you said about what labor could cost, what overhead could cost, there's a 10% chance if there's 10 of those out of 100 that you're going to lose money. And we used to always say that's where the arguing starts going on, because 10% is kind of Some people are risk takers, they go, oh, that's not bad, that means there's a 90% chance we're gonna make money. And some people are conservative like me, that I was the one at the table saying, no, unless that's 5% or less, there's no reason to go for it. Why take that kind of risk? And I was always the one that has to be, I was always the business person, so I was the one in charge of the money. And if I get put into a situation where I'm gonna be low on cash because we happen to hit one of these scenarios where we're heading towards losing money, especially over the 15-year period, and I'm running low on cash, the number one hugest problem a company can face is not having enough cash to meet payroll. When employees don't get their paycheck, that's it. The company's almost done. That's the worst thing that can happen. I've been at a company before where I said, look, we're gonna run out of cash and have to go and set up a line of credit and make sure and get the money borrowed to make sure we meet payroll, just because of a scenario where our cash was tied up accidentally on something else. Not that we didn't have the cash, it was tied up and I couldn't use it for payroll. Because you gotta transfer the full $1 million to meet payroll for the month. By the way, a lot of companies are only paid once a month, so you guys gotta learn to budget your money. Because it costs a lot of money to run payroll, so they don't pay every week, they don't pay every 2 weeks, once a month. Every employee here at the college only gets paid once a month. So learn to budget your money, because it costs a ton of money to run payroll at a company. So once a month is how pays are now. And you gotta transfer the whole $1 million, and you gotta have it there to transfer to meet everyone trying to cash their checks, or the automatic deposits that are all going into everyone's accounts now. Anyway, that's why you need to know about if statements. Look how many if statements are in this. There's an if statement right there. Here's a whole bunch. See all these RANDs? That's allowing the simulation to randomly decide. Let me go back to the headings here. Look, we're out of time. We got an in-class we gotta do. What? 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 Surprise, surprise. All right, that's enough. We'll review this again. Let's get to the in-class. I don't want you to run out of time. Here we go. Are you ready? Here's the deal of this in-class. This is preparing you for a final exam. What, you can't see it? You can't see it?
I can't.
Okay,
No.
let me talk about it.